Joining me now, 2016 Libertarian Party presidential nominee and former governor of New Mexico, Gary Johnson. Governor Johnson, thanks for coming on the show, sir.
It is great to be with you. And you know what? If we don't watch out for liberty, it's just not going to be around anymore.
Well, that's the thesis of this show, that if we don't keep an eye out for those who wish to attack it, we're going to lose it here.
I'm echoing what you said.
Governor Johnson, tell me what you think of this. I mean, this is a pretty big revelation from the Washington Post that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC, we knew those two were colluding, by the way, that those two actually paid for this dossier that was published by BuzzFeed. What do you make of this?
Well, during the 2016 presidential campaign, my prediction was that, hey, if we want to elect Hillary, it's just going to be one story after another of pay to play and of trying to influence this or that with money. That's what I said during the whole campaign. I said about Trump that, look, the stuff he's saying is really, there's some things that he's saying that are really crazy. And if he follows through with those things, it's going to be horrible. So, you know, one or the other, and here it is, Hillary. I mean, if she were president today, it would be just a turn of the page and what's new. And if Trump gets elected, you know, what's he lied about to get here? And that's also playing itself out too.
Right, and it's interesting. This is a comment from the DNC, their response to this revelation, this public revelation that they were part of the people who funded this dossier. This is their comment. They said, Chairman Tom Perez and the new leadership of the DNC, meaning not former DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz, they were not involved in any decision-making regarding Fusion GPS, nor were they aware that Perkins Coie was working with the organization. But let's be clear, they say, there is a serious federal investigation into the Trump campaign's ties to Russia, and the American public deserves to know what happened. Governor Johnson, I don't understand this mindset. They are singularly focused on looking for collusion and corruption between Trump and Russia, but they have evidence of actual wrongdoing between Russia and the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they don't seem to care.
And imagine if Hillary were president, how this would be playing out, which, like I say, was my prediction, that regardless of who got elected, it was going to be just a storm from one day to the next. And that's what has transpired with Trump. And if Hillary would have been elected, that's what this would be playing out with her as president.
Well, right, if she were president, I don't know if we'd even hear these stories. She'd squash them. But Governor Johnson, make another prediction for us right now. What do you think will happen with this story? What do you think will happen with the revelation that the DNC and Hillary Clinton paid for this dossier and then they lied about it? Is it going to be a story that people talk about, use as a talking point for a couple weeks, and then it goes away, or is there going to be investigations into this?
I'd have to go for the former, that this will be something that will get talked about for weeks, and then it'll just become a background noise after that, much like the emails and everything else that's transpired with the Clintons.
What about the fact that the FBI, and this was actually rumored several months ago, I guess at the beginning of the year when this dossier was released by BuzzFeed, that the FBI helped pay for Christopher Steele's work. In this Washington Post expose, there's a sentence, a lot of people aren't paying attention to it, but it says the FBI did pick up the payments. They continued to pay Christopher Steele for his work after the Clinton campaign discontinued their work with him, which was right around Election Day. But our tax money then, your tax money and my tax money, actually funded parts of this dossier or parts of this background research.
That's politics in America today. I mean, regretfully it was Clinton and Trump, and I did offer an alternative to that, and really was disappointed in the results. And I'm not going to be a political candidate anymore. I had my shot, but I always thought that honesty and integrity would rule the day. And I'm here in Washington right now to petition the Supreme Court to direct the appeals court to hear our case, which may give Americans other choices, independent choices, choices of people that would be on the ballot in all 50 states. But right now, look, the Founding Fathers never envisioned parties. They envisioned individuals that would go to Washington and do the right thing, and it's devolved now into two parties when the biggest category of registered voters are independents. Where is that representation? So we as voters have really laid this groundwork that it's one or the other, and each of them has warts and pimples, and we don't like it.
Right, and that's what happens when you get all this money behind these candidates. Let me clarify something you just said. I think our viewers will be interested in this. You said you're done running for office. Does that mean there will be no 2020 presidential bid for Governor Johnson?
There will be no 2020 presidential bid by Governor Johnson.
What's next for you, sir?
Well, during the campaign, I was asked many times, what are you going to do if you're not elected? I said I was going to ski 100 days, and I also said that I was going to ride the Continental Divide bike race, which is a 2,800-mile bike race from Banff, Canada to Antelope Wells, New Mexico on the Continental Divide. Liz, I did both of those things, and I plan on doing both of those things again this year.